Welcome, my name is Scott Sonnon, founder of Intu-Flow and TechFit. I'd like to take an opportunity to introduce someone who can help you restore natural range of motion, alleviate pain, and reduce muscular tension. When you're addressing the limitations in range of motion, consider, is it accurate for me today? Is this the range of motion that I ought to be practicing today? What I value most about Aaron as a professional is his ability to communicate those incremental steps. Take those when you move into each motion so that you can get the greatest success out of your journey.
All right, I'm Aaron Cruz. I'm going to take you through Scott Sonnon's Intuitive Flow. I'm going to give you my own expression on it. Of course, check with your doctor and make sure you're clear to do any exercise or movement. If going through any of these ranges of motion, you experience any pain, just pull back or stop and check in once again with your physician. I'm going to take you through a series of mobility drills, starting at the head and working our way all the way down to our feet. Now, normally when I do this, if I'm warming up a class where everyone comes in clear to exercise, I'm doing maybe 3 to 5 reps in each direction. So we'll start out working our posture. I always like to restore this position whenever we're going through mobility. So we'll start out here, and the best way to get into this without over-explaining it is imagine standing back to back with your best friend, and you're trying to see who's taller through your crown. All right, so when we restore our posture or get back to our reset button, that's what we'll do. And so to start off with, I'm just going to take you through simple ranges of motions, and once you go through them, don't fight through it. You just want to go to the tension and away from it, right? So you go through it to a point where you feel tension and then away. You don't want to go past that resistance and speed through anything or go to any pain. Okay, so tall through the crown. I'm going to go ahead and lift and lengthen. I'm going to draw in and inhale. Inhale, it's going to fill my belly. I'm going to use it to expand my body and lift through my crown. From there, I'm going to let my shoulders drop down, and to help me do that, I could take my hands on my thighs and pull my elbows in. So right away, if I'm here and I'm in the slouch position, if I pull my elbows in, it's going to open up my posture and lift my chest. So I'm going to inhale, lengthen through the crown, and then I'm just going to imagine my head sliding down off a slope, which is my chest, right? So I'm going to slide down off a slope, and I'll feel the tension, right? And I don't want to fight through that. I'm just going to want to go to that tug and away from it. And then I'm going to pull back and feel some tension. So you're just going to the mild discomfort back and forth. Glide through it, and then I'm going to pull all the way back to that reset button we talked about. And I'm going to imagine the back of my head against the wall behind me. And I'm going to clean it from side to side, right? This angle, this plane right here. Okay, so side to side. And it's not a huge range of motion, right? It's really short range. If we haven't done neck mobility before, maybe it's no range, right? So maybe just thinking about it, you're not even moving. So then we're going to combine that together. So I'll hit my reset button, lengthen my neck and spine, right? Get that traction. And I'll combine those movements together. And it won't be a big circle because I want to breathe through it, right? So I don't want to go to any tension or discomfort because then I'll stop breathing. So I might start out small, taking my breath with me, and then I might open it up a little bit more each time, staying away from the pain and then the other direction. And you can see the pattern my head is taking, it's sliding down and pulling up and back, right? So it's constantly spiraling up, right? Sliding down off the front of the chest and then pulling back and lengthening. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to work into our shoulders and arms. So I'm just going to take my arms, lock out my elbows, and they don't have to necessarily be locked, but however I could get my shoulder blades to move around. So I'm going to lift my shoulder blades up and pull them back and around, lift and pull them back and around. So however that works for you, sometimes it might be harder with your arms locked out. We just kind of want to unglue the shoulder blades off and just get some movement in there, get some blood flow. Okay, and once we got that all worked around, we're going to pull the shoulders back and down, tall through the crown, and we're just going to reach out with the fingertips and squeeze your triceps. And doing that, you're going to feel, wherever you're tight at, you're going to feel releases. Most people feel it in the elbows, here in the biceps. It gets really tight from being in this position, so once we punch out, we'll feel that travel all the way through. So punch out, wiggle those fingers, unlock it, and then from here we're just going to work the rotation in our shoulders, right? So I'm going to lift the shoulders and let them roll over the front, just like we did earlier. Lift them and roll them back, right, with my arms out to the side. Inhale, roll them back. Exhale, forward. Inhale, up and back. Exhale, forward, right? Okay, so now we got that motion. We understand that motion. It's rounded out and pulling back. We're going to bring our arms right outside again. With our arms locked out, we're going to let them roll over the front. And I'll show you from the side. Inhale them back. Right? Exhale, forward. Inhale back. Exhale, forward. Good. And now with our arms locked out, we're just going to let one shoulder blade chase the other. And if you need to, you can work one side at a time. So you can really put the intent and focus in that one side, really unlocking your shoulder blade off your back and ribs, rotating it forward. Okay, other direction, then we'll do the other side. Same idea. And just opening up our shoulder and chest girdle. A lot of these tissues here support your neck stability. So if they get tight and rigid, there's going to be a lot of things we're feeling in here. And so that's all we're trying to do is loosen up tension. So next we're going to do is open up, inhale, lift our heart. Fill it up, pull your belly button in, stay tall. Keep sniffing in the air, let the air fill your diaphragm and open up your ribs and chest. And then we'll exhale and reach forward with our elbows and let the shoulder blades slide apart. Okay, let the back spread apart, let it get wide, hips tucked. And then we'll bring the shoulder blades together and down. So we're going to pull them down, lift the chest again. Fill your body up with air. Keep on thinking about length, getting taller and taller. Then exhale, open up the shoulder blades, but still staying tall through your crown, right? We still want to be lifting and lengthening. Good. Now from here, I'm just going to keep a slight tuck to my hips. So I'm going to work some shoulder mobility. So once I bring my thumb back behind me, my shoulders retracting, and right away, what do the hips and lower back want to do? They want to lift up and float up. So we're going to focus on that first, squeezing, tucking, driving the tailbone down to release our lower back. And we're going to go ahead and inhale, and then look what happens to my range of motion when I tuck the hips. I can't bring the arm back as far. But if I open up my lower back, is my shoulder really going back further, or is it just my lower back compensating, right? I'm not moving my arm, but it's moving straighter over my head and back because of the lower back. So keep that in mind, not mobilizing the lower back, squeeze, tuck it, and we're going to imagine grabbing a rope from the ceiling. And you're doing all this from the shoulder blade, armpit, and then we're going to circle the other way. And like I said, I'm going to take you guys in a flow all the way down the body thoroughly, several reps, so you get the idea. But if you're teaching a class, of course, if the class is 45 minutes, by the time I'm done with this, the class is going to be over. You don't want to take that long with your warm-up. And so here we're going and lead up with the thumb, rotate, pinky edge leads the way down. And then we're going to go the other way. Thumb leads the way up, pinky edge leads the way down. And just keep everything engaged, right? Now we're going to take the arm across our body, thumb down. Okay, it's going to open up the back of the shoulder blade, and then I'm just going to circle across. Okay, once I'm at my full range here, wherever I feel the tension, I'm just going to work into that. Shave off some tension, see if I can open up some range of motion. And then I'm going to rotate my palm up and then bring it back behind me to open up my chest and shoulder. So now here, retracting my shoulder. Once again, my lower back's going to want to come out. So I'm going to want to tuck my hips, pull the arm back, and then I'll feel my oblique working. And I'm just going to circle on the wall behind me. Back of the shoulder blade is flexing. So I'm going to feel that rush with blood as soon as I release this position. Good. And I'm going to bring it to the side and just release some tension I may have built up in the back. Good. Okay. So now from there, I'm just going to stay on this one arm. Now I'm going to get everything from the bicep into the front of my shoulder. So I'm going to pull my thumb in. I'm going to rotate it in and then bend the elbow as I rotate in. Then I'm going to rotate out and extend the arm, squeeze in the tricep. Pivot over, bring it in. You can really work on cranking it out and extending through that. And once again, as you retract your shoulder, right, it's retracted here. What does the lower back want to do? It wants to come out. So I'm going to keep it tucked and work from there. And right away, I'm feeling my bicep release, working some range of motion in my shoulder, and then also my lats engaged now, keeping my hips tucked and elbow into my side as I rotate back behind. Good. Now we'll do it right in front. Have it in front and pull the thumb in towards me. Rotate right past the shoulder. Turn it out and extend. Good. And all these tissues connect all the way in through the shoulder girdle into your neck. So it's a great drill to do if you spend long hours at a desk typing. In this flex position, right? Wring out all those tissues. Now we're going to take it right underneath our armpit. So palm up. I'm going to pull the elbow underneath and rotate the elbow out and take my pinky edge right underneath and then turn it over, dump it. Another way to think about this, if you had a cup or a plate in your hand and you want to not let it drop, take it right underneath your armpit, extend, lock it out. And then you notice here there's some flexion in my spine, right? As you see me pitching forward, extend, that's fine. I can also try to stay more upright and do it. But just be aware of your movements and compensations that are happening in your spine, right? Because that's where they're always going to happen. So that's good. It takes care of the elbow, shoulder, arm there. Now I'm just going to go into some wrist movement here. I'm going to drive my wrist up towards the ceiling, down towards the ground. Okay, and that's what I want to think with. So say if there's a plane right here, a ceiling, I want to try to hit the ceiling with my wrist versus taking my fist away and moving the fist around. So I'm going to drive the wrist up into it, and then I'm going to drive the wrist down, right? Up, down like a trampoline. All right, and that's putting all the motion in to the wrist joint. Then I'm going to go in and out. In, out. Same idea. Push them in, push the wrist out. And then take that around in a circle. And then the other way. Good. Then we'll open up our hand wide. Pinky edge. Curl them in. Articulate your grip. All right? So you could do it all together like a fan. Or you can individualize and circle each finger, isolate the rest, circle, middle finger, circle, circle. Great drill if you're in traffic, right? So I usually hit the big parts in my body, like my spine, shoulders, hips, knees in the morning. Takes like 5 minutes. Get in my car, might do some of this or work my fingers on the way so I can make use of the downtime in traffic, okay? So you got the idea on the shoulder and arms, and take you through the same ranges of motion on this side, but I'm not going to say anything. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and tuck the hips, bring them up, carve out that circle. Working your breathing while you're here, locking down your structure. All right, like I said, I'm just going to do a few reps. You could do several more if you like. I'm going to reach back behind, palm up behind, circle on the wall behind. Keeping my hip tucked forward. And really engaging your core and keeping your structure is really going to apply a lot of the work and effort to it. This is really where a lot of the calories are going to get burnt doing that. So once again, thumb goes down across the body, and that's opening up the back of your shoulder blade now, but still trying to pack the shoulder down, right, into the lat. And then just circle off to the side. You should feel your pec flexing. All right, so we want flexion here, and then extension here. And then just like when we do the back, extension here, opening, then flexion in the back. Now we're going to take that around, up with the thumb, and then rotate pinky edge, let that lead the way down. And once again, once we get here, try not to let your hips come out. Keep them tucked. Rotate there, and then you'll feel all the work going into your abdominals and lats where you want to feel it. Good. All right, got that down. Work the shoulder blade out a little bit there, and then we went into our biceps. So palm up, elbow comes through, pass that plate or cup right underneath you, extend, lock it out. And you can see me coming forward a little bit, rounding out, flexing my spine. That's okay. You could do that if it's a little tight in the shoulder. Once we loosen it up a little bit, you could try to stay taller and go through. And you'll feel things differently. The more neutral you keep your spine, but make sure if I am flexing over here, I'm doing it on purpose. I'm aware of it, right? If I want to do this, right? And then I want to come back to my reset button. Right in front, reset button, pull the thumb in towards you, rotate out, and wring that bicep out. And exhale through your work. Hips stay tucked, rotate, and then the other direction. Wrist, push them up, push them down, up, down. In, out. Another way to do this drill and practice and get better at it is maybe put like go against a wall, put your second knuckles against the wall, and keep them touching the wall while you go around, right? So you're moving your wrist around your hand and not your hand around your wrist. We're gonna go over our next mobility drill. It has a lot to do with our thoracic spine. Probably one of the most important parts of your body to warm up, so let's make sure we understand what's happening here. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, of course, reset button on our posture. And now this is very much breathing entailed. So you wanna take your breathing, some kind of breathing technique with you. So I'm giving a slight tuck to my hips to release my lower back, and I wanna keep it there. I don't wanna squeeze too much, right? I don't wanna squeeze too much, create too much tension here, but I do wanna be aware of the alignment in my crown to coccyx. So I'm gonna keep it here while I'm working this drill. So I'm gonna inhale into my belly, and feel my ribs and my heart lifting as I inhale. I'm gonna let my chest expand and open up. That's gonna complement my spinal extension as I inhale here. And then when I exhale, I'm gonna work my flexion in my spine. So I'm gonna exhale, my shoulder blades and back are gonna get wide. I'm gonna let my shoulder blades slide apart, and then I don't wanna be here compressing my neck while I do it. So I'm gonna tuck, and I'm gonna create that big curve, almost like a bow, right? Like a bow right here, the arrow's being drawn back, it's gonna shoot out that way, right? So big C shape with your spine, like an arrow, but I'm still thinking length, right? Even though I'm flexing. And while I'm here, I'm gonna do some auxiliary work. So I'm gonna roll my spine. So my spine is flexed. While it's flexed, I'm gonna roll. My rib to my hip, and this one's gonna open up. So we got lengthening on one side, flexion on the other, and that's really gonna open up my intercostals on this side, all right? And then I could complement that with a little shoulder blade mobility, but still all the time staying in this flex position. And then I'll do that to the other side. I'll roll the other way, all right? Open up the intercostals here. Work a little shoulder blade mobility. And then I'll go back to my breathing. Inhale, get tall, keeping my core engaged, hips slightly tucked, lift and lengthen. And then I can cruise back and forth between the two. Exhale, inhale up, exhale back. And then tall through our crown again, that's good for that. So we'll go ahead and reach outside, squeezing thighs and glutes tight. This one's pretty important, especially if we can't recruit our hips. So we want to recruit the hips, get tall through the crown, and then what you want to think about is, say if there's some bushes right here, you're stuck. You know, the bushes that split your neighbor's house, right? And so say if the neighbor wants to, what do you borrow from neighbors? Like sugar and stuff, right? So you want to borrow some sugar from the neighbor, but you got to reach over that fence. You're going to reach, reach, reach. You're going to feel this big tug right here. Keep the hips slightly tucked, reach, try to get the sugar. Give me the sugar. And then we'll go the other way. We'll reach, reach, reach the other way and feel that tug on the other side, right? And the reason I'm saying there's a wall, bush right here, because you don't want to have the hips go out, right? So I'm locking down my position and my ribs and torso are going off, displacing off my hips. And that's what's going to give me this stretch here in the front of my hip and also in the small of my back. One side to the other. And really pretend like you're reaching and grabbing for something with your fingertips. Really reach, 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 grab, and you'll feel that a little deeper in there. Slide side to side. If your arms are getting a little tired, we could bring them in, but we want to help keep the shoulders in place here. And now we can combine those movements together. The inhale opening, the exhale back. But you have to breathe with this. If you don't breathe with it and you just hold your breath, it's not going to work. So let your inhale, exhale complement the movement. So I'm going to exhale here. I'm going to go off to the side and inhale up. Lift my chest, expand. Exhale off to the other side, back around. Inhale up, exhale back around. Now we're just getting some, all our organs and intestines are here. So this will actually help you digest a little bit. So this is my favorite mobility drill after my first dinner on Thanksgiving, because then it helps me get 2 and 3 dinners in. All right, so we loosen all that up. Now we're going to be soft in the knees. Bend in the knees because I want to give myself a little bit of freedom to work my pelvic area and my hips, right? So I'm going to be soft here, and I'm going to tilt back and lift slightly especially if you have stuff going on with your lower back. You don't want to go compress this area. So you definitely want to inhale first. Inhale and feel your body lengthening, just like a clown blows up a balloon. It makes those little shapes with it. So feel that. Inhale and let it fill you up from your diaphragm all the way up and out. Fill it up, feel everything expanding. That's going to protect your spine. And then we'll exhale and draw in our belly button. Drive the tailbone down. We don't want to squeeze our glutes too much if they're too tight in there, because then that's put a lot of compression into your lower back. So just a slight tuck, belly button pulls in, and then get tall. And then inhale back, exhale, tuck. And then of course, eventually you want to do it without bending the knees and freeing up stuff. But to make it easier, bend the knees first, and you can do it a lot easier from here. Okay, and then lock them out, and then tilt back, tuck underneath. Try to have just these parts working, nothing else. So now we got that range of motion with our hips tilting up and tucking underneath. Now we're just gonna work on our balance, shifting our weight from one side to the other. Okay, so to shift your weight, what I like to do is simply just bend your knee forward. And when my knee bends forward, it doesn't matter if it goes past the toes. If I'm through the balls of my feet, it's fine. Your knee, you want that to not go past the big toe on the inside though. So I don't want to be here because there's no stability here, right? My knee is just floating over open space. So if I had a bunch of weight on top of me, what is going to happen? Knee is going to happen, right? If I'm right here, it's just going to be all my legs, my bigger muscles. So I'm going to be here. I'm going to let one knee shift forward. And then I say that because we're going to be on one leg. So once your one knee shifts forward, you should be able to take this leg off the ground pretty easily, right? And we'll do that to the other side. I'm going to shift this knee forward, leg off the ground. So I got my balance, right? So to help you with your balance, bend the knee. And then once you get better at it, you can lock the leg out, right? But if you need to catch your balance again, bend it. Just be careful you're not twisting in. Right, we don't want to twist in. Stay on the outside edge of your foot. So if you're looking at your hand like a foot, you have your heel, the outside edge, and the pinky edge of the ball of your foot. You kind of want to stay right in there, right on the outside edge. So you can pull your toes off to help with that. From here, we're going to bring the knee up, and I'm going to lock out the leg in front. I'm just going to work a little circle. And I'm going to circle the other way. I'm just going to open up those tissues a little bit, and then I'm going to sit back into them. Balance on the other side, bring the knee up, lock it out. Just work a little circle, and then we're going to circle the other way. Make sure that leg stays nice and locked. Okay, so now like I said, we're going to pull back into the hips. So I'm going to shift my weight to one side just like we did, and I'm going to sit straight back. Okay, now when I do that, I'm just on one side, just like how we demoed a moment ago. This leg's going to help me with my balance so I don't fall. I'm going to pull my hip to the back corner of the room, and once I get to the back corner, I'm going to think about my heel and the outside edge of my foot. Sit to the back corner, I'm going to ride along the outside edge of my foot to my fifth metatarsal, right to the pinky toe, the toe next to it, the middle toe, and then back off the heel to the back corner. I'll just keep working that out. Breathe through it. Then I'm going to come forward and I'm going to extend the hip forward. So my hip's just releasing forward on that side. Drive that forward and then sit all the way back again. Then we're just going to come up through that foot and we'll do the same thing on the other side. Shift your weight to that side. Pull to the back corner off that heel. Use your arms to help you balance. And then just start shaving off the tension. So I'm going from back off the heel, outside edge of the heel, outside edge of the foot, all the way to the pinky toe. What was that? The ring toe, middle toe. Those last three toes, all the way in between my big toe and second toe. It's about as far as I want to go inside. There and back. And we'll come up through there. Okay, so now once we have our hip tuck, lift to one side, tuck, lift to the other side, tuck, lift straight back, tuck. We could connect all those together. So I'm just going to lift to one side, inhale back, tuck to the other side, roll underneath, and put a lot of the focus into releasing my hip flexors. Inhale back, let your belly fill up, exhale, tuck, all the way around. Inhale, exhale, and then we'll go the other way. Inhale back, exhale, tuck. And what's really happening when we do that, we're rolling our hips around in a circle. So we, of course, we're working our hip flexors here, but it's really mobilizing our lower back and engaging our core. So just doing this and breathing into your lower belly and lower back really helps release a lot of tension. Back to our balancing. So I'm just going to balance on one side. I'm going to bring the other leg out. I'm just going to fight it outside. I'm just going to push out. Push out. You know, we don't work the outside of our hips enough. So I want to get that flexed and released, flexed and released. And then I'm going to rotate the toes up towards the ceiling, and I'm going to work my leg right outside my body up from there. And doing that, I'm going to feel a big squeeze in my glute as I rotate my foot back behind. And then I'm just going to wash a little circle out from my hip. Same idea as we did with the arm circling. Keep the leg locked out. Less is better here. So what I mean by that is if you're trying to do a big circle and the knee is bending, less is better. So lock out the leg, focus more on pulling your kneecap up, and you'll get more benefit from that. Now I'm going to take the leg across the body, circle off to the side. Same idea, leg locked out. I'm going to take it behind too. Now when I take it behind, I want to keep my posture on this planted leg. Okay? So I'll jab at the back first, make sure I'm not coming forward here. I'll jab at it, make sure I'm staying still, and then I'll know my range of motion. Then I'll circle from there without coming forward, because is my leg really going higher if I come forward here, or am I just hinging on this leg? Am I just flexing this hip? Yeah, I'm just flexing this hip. This leg's not really going higher, right? So if I need to go higher, this is higher, right? It's as far as I can go. So wash that out behind you. Good there, and we'll get our other side. Balance on the other side. If you need to shake it off from balancing there, shake it out. We'll bring our other leg out and just open up the outside of that hip. Still working on our posture here. Now our posture is over our planted foot. So you notice if I'm on both feet working my posture, belly button is right between both feet. When I get on one leg, where's my belly button at now? Right over my planted foot, so is my head. All right? That's how you keep your balance. So my head goes forward, I'm falling forward. My head goes back, I'm falling back. My head goes this way, I'm falling that way. Head right over the foot, I'm going to have better balance. So we're just circling there. We're going to go back to lift. Toes up, externally rotate that hip, feel that glute squeezing. Lift, lift, lift. And then we'll work that circle right outside. Just a little circle. Focus is keeping this leg, the circling leg, locked out. So we're using the ball, a socket in the hip to release some tension in there. You know, you want to use these movements, take it across our body, to assess yourself, to create more awareness from your brain to your body so we can feel what's going on in there. If we don't move our body around, we don't know what side is stronger or looser or tighter. So we're just creating more awareness, more spatial awareness, more mindful awareness. We'll take the leg behind. If you fall out of balance, you can just do like I did. Put your foot back down and go right back into it again. So take that leg behind, circle, feel the glute squeezing as you lift the leg, right? So as I flex and lift, glutes flexing, shortening to lift, which means opening up the front of my hip. That's why I like this drill so much, because it's an open up front of the hips. If you happen to be sitting a lot, it's a great one to run. Across the body. Good. Okay, shake that out. Shake them out, shake them out. Just continuing to move down so you can see we're almost done, right? We started at the top of our crown in the beginning. We're down to the hips, and we're going to go to our knees and quads, just like we did with our elbows earlier. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and lock out our leg and then bend it. Lock it, bend it. Okay, because that's the range of motion we're going to be working. Full bend, full extension, and then we're going to rotate it and rotate, right? And that's basically the two movements we're going to do. We're going to pivot with our leg extended, and we're going to bend it and also pivot from here. So inside edge is going to come up. I'm going to extend, lock it out, pivot out in front, bring the outside edge in, rotate underneath, extend, lock it out, pivot, and then just smooth that out. I really want that full flexion, so I really want to squeeze, pull the kneecap up, and rotate from there. Okay, if I want the full benefit from it. And then the other direction. Really squeeze, create some discomfort in that hip. And then we'll do the other side. Bend it, lock it, right? Make sure you got control there. Lock it out, pivot, 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 and then bend it. Pivot inside edge up, outside edge up, inside edge up, and then just combine it all together. Lock it, pivot, pull it in, pivot, lock it out, pivot, bend the knee, pivot, and then we'll go the other way. And exhale through it. One of the challenging parts of the whole intuitive flow series here is balancing on one leg. Really elevates the heart rate, gets you a little sweaty. That takes care of the quads. Now you can do that right underneath yourself. Same pattern, right? You could do it outside. Same pattern. Right, locking it out, pivot up, bend it, pivot, lock it, pivot. And you can see I'm leaning off to the side, right? Because I'm bringing my leg too high. So bring it down. Bring it to where you can keep your head right over your foot. You can also do it across your body, right? So maybe like some soccer players might be good at this, right? Behind your body. Really to flex that glute again. Release the front of your hip. Now we're gonna go ahead and move our way down to our ankles and feet. Get our balance, right? Still working our balance here. Toes are gonna pull back towards you so we get lengthen our calf and Achilles here, and then we're gonna flex it. All right, flex, 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 shorten it, pull it back. Flex it, pull it back. All right, and then we're gonna roll it. Just like if you stepped off a curb the wrong way and rolled your ankle, roll the inside edge of the foot up, and then roll the outside edge. And then just take that around in a circle. Circle, circle, circle the other way. Good. Now the side, you can bend into that a little bit. Flex it forward, pull back, forward, back, and then rotate in and out, round in a circle. Okay, so once I warm up the whole body and I loosen up tissues or help my tissues loosen up, I like to put it all together, see how things feel. So I usually do that through a squat. And so since I've worked my posture to get my shoulders back and down, my spine extended, well, I'm gonna wanna keep my shoulders back and down, my chest up. So when I squat, I still wanna keep this length in my spine. And so to keep my shoulders back and down, I'm gonna imagine grabbing a bar in front of me. I'm gonna grab it and break it in half. That's gonna take my shoulders and screw them down into my lats. Okay, now once I'm here, I'm gonna have my squat stance, whatever your squat stance is. Make sure you take some time to work on that. I'm gonna pull my butt straight down. But as I go down, I'm gonna keep this length in my spine. So I wanna stay long. Imagine someone pushing my head straight down. And I'm gonna stay on the balls of my feet. So if some weight comes off my heels a little bit, I'll just adjust, stay through the middle, tall through the crown, and then I can start working wherever I'm tight at. Right, I'll lift a little bit. I got some tightness here in the shins. And so it takes a little bit for that to release, right? For me anyways. I'll keep fighting the knees out. I'll keep working myself down, shoulders back and down. And just give yourself some time to let tissues release. Maybe if the weight's coming off your heels, pull back again and try to take that with you. Now once I get here, I can find the ground, bring my knees down, and do some other auxiliary movements. So working my shoulder blades here, massage that out. I could go back into my hips again. Tilt, tuck, tilt, tuck. But one of the main things I do when I get down is I get to my shin box. I want to work deeper into my hips, my internal and external rotation. So once I'm here, hands are underneath my shoulders and chest to keep my posture up. And then I'm going to pull my toes back, right? And then just bring one knee over the inside edge. Now I'm doing this so I can create some internal rotation, so I'm feeling it way into my hip. And then I'm using my hands to keep my posture, right? If I don't use my hands behind me and I do this, it's too easy for this to happen, my whole spine to collapse, my butt to come up. So I'm using this to keep my posture. So when I do rotate over the inside edge of my foot, I feel the work exactly where I want it to, into my hips. And then we'll go ahead and lay both knees down. I'm in this box shape with my shins. So we call it a shin box. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna sit your backside down, right? I'm trying to dig in, stack some weight over the back hip, then I'll restore my posture. I'll tuck underneath. Now I'm gonna work my pelvic tilt and tuck, which we've done multiple times already, and that's this movement, tuck, tilt. So I'm gonna do that while I'm in the shin box, okay? And it's gonna help me just shave off some tension here. It's gonna help me release some things here over time that might help to get my butt a little closer to the ground, okay? Once I'm there, I'm just gonna work on sitting tall. Inhale into where I'm working. Exhale, let it release. And then I can use my hands. I can use my hands again to switch. Windshield wipe past your chest. Make sure you go slow, right? Check in, check in. If it's something you haven't done before, really slow. Work to sit that back side down, tilt back, tuck underneath. Inhale back, exhale tuck. And you kind of turn your shoulders and stack more weight over the back hip. Switch again. Once I finish up the warm-up standing and I make it down to this position here and I'm doing the shin box mobility drill, it's easy to go into a pigeon from here. And we're going to fold in half right between the knees here. That's going to open up this hip here. That's going to translate into my QL. So I can just take a few breaths here, try to relax through that, and then I'll do that same shin box switch to the other side, sit tall. Just trying to sit my backside down. And when I fold in half, I'm still trying to keep that down. So I'm not trying to lift up my butt to come forward, right? Keeping my butt down and fold in half. So all that work could go up a little higher into the small of my back. Good, and then we'll switch again. Now once I get to here, and if you're really tight, this is a great way to get into this position. I'm doing all the work from my load, right? So your body is a weight, and if I'm folding from the weight, I can adjust or moderate how much pressure I put in, right? And so once I'm here, I can feel my body weight into my hip. I don't have any weight back here, so that's going to allow me to reach back. My knee here is safe because I'm sitting on my thigh and hip. I have as much of my thigh down above my knee as possible. So my knee is going to be in a non-compromised position, right? Versus if I was up here, right? And there's space, okay? So I'm going to be down here. I'm going to reach back with the back leg. Look at the foot, and I'm going to play with the flexion of my foot. The plantar flexion and dorsal flexion. Point it, and notice what happens to the front hip when I point it and I roll over my knee. Right? I create some more load and leverage, right, by bringing my hip off the ground. Now I have more weight stacked over my hip now versus if I was sitting here. When I come up, I feel my hip, the weight of my hips helping me out to sink in. So now from there, let's pull the back knee in, and then you switch it. And you can see how easy it is to get in and out of the pigeon from this position, right? Shifting forward, freeing my back leg, and then I'm just going to reach back with it. And I could do all my adjustments from the foot, right? I could walk it around, I could roll over the top, but I really want to kick through the inside edge and then point and roll over. And then you can work on your time duration. What I mean by that is how long do you want to be right here? Inhaling, breathing, right? You could be here if it's fine, you're comfortable with that, and you have the mental capacity just to hang out here, it's fine, good. But if you don't want to, get into a whole yoga session but still be flexible, then you could just flow back and forth. Reach back, roll over the toe, tuck, get the benefit, come back down, switch, fold in half, reach back, tuck, get the benefit. So you could do that too. You just rotate back and forth. And this is really what got me into yoga, was being able to transition and flow through positions. It makes it a little more entertaining for yourself. It's almost like if you're going for a walk, right? So there's a rhythm to it, right? It's not clunky. So once I'm done with all the pigeons, I'll just sit on top of the feet, maybe do a little shin roll back and forth. Then I'll come up the same way we went down. So I'll get my hands down, feet down, pull back, and then check in with my squat again. And it should be a lot better after playing with your hips like that a little bit. And then imagine someone's pulling me up through that string, through my crown again. Right on up. And that will be your Intuitive Flow, developed by Scott Sonnon, brought to you by myself, Cruz. I live in Salinas, California. My gym is in Monterey, California. And that gym is Ulta Performance Institute. I'd love to see you guys there, or look me up, follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and see you there.